Hello, everyone. This is Bill Apter, and I just finished taping an episode of Count It Out with Mike and Tyler, or Tyler and Mike. They're brilliant hosts. You've got to listen. You've got to see. Count It Out. Yeah, I endorse it. They've got the After Chat seal of approval.
To Count It Out with Mike and Tyler.
Well, we are live, pals, and welcome to another edition of the Bill Apter Sealed of Approved Count It Out with Mike and Tyler. My name is Tyler, and I am joined by the one and only well-rested vacation Mike. Arriba, Mike. How was your vacation?
Arriba. Mojito Mike was alive and well this week, my friends. I just got back from Mexico. I mojitoed myself quite a bit. I thought I'd be tequila Mike this week, but I don't know. I was feeling the mojitos, feeling a lot of Coronas, but I didn't go as crazy as I thought it would. We have both my kids with me, so it was a lot of early nights. I think the latest I went to bed all week was 10 o'clock.
Jeez.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was it's hard having two kids that are on a vacation like that, but we did a lot of really fun things. A lot of water, a lot of sun, a lot of drinking.
Hell yeah, brother. Well, I did mention the word Arriba as well, and there's a reason for that, not just because you are a vacation man, but because on this week's episode, I'm going to be playing to you the interview that I did with WWE Hall of Famer, former tag team champion, former Intercontinental champion, the one and only Tito Santana is joining Count It Out a little bit later on this week. Really fun chat that we had with Tito a couple weeks ago. We are also going to be counting down. It is WrestleMania season, so we are going to be counting down my top 7 returns to happen at WrestleMania. Very fun list. Time to get into the WrestleMania season. We're 4 weeks away. 4 weeks away. Let's get it going.
Can I tell you something really funny? Like kind of behind the curtains. I totally forgot you changed your list at the last minute.
Oh.
So I am so prepared for your Toronto list.
Well, that can be in 2 weeks' time then.
Yes.
I mean, I can switch it on the fly if you want.
No. I'm excited for your WrestleMania list. I am. I just totally forgot about it. So I have all my notes in front of me are for Toronto. So you're going to be leading this show.
Well, I mean, I do most weeks anyways, Mike, so I'm used to it. Boom, you're off vacation now. Welcome to the real world. You're back. But yeah, let's talk a little bit of wrestling before we get into anything. And you know what? I want to promote a fantastic thing that is coming up here. Our good friends over at Rock Solid Wrestling. Big fans of Rock Solid Wrestling. As you've heard over the last couple of weeks, we've been playing some fun clips from them. And that is because Rock Solid Wrestling has Brace for Impact. Saturday, March the 29th, 6 p.m. The doors, 7 p.m. at the Bracebridge and Muskoka Lake Secondary School. Count It Out, proud sponsors of that show. And why don't we take a look at our good friend Adam Contant asking members of the Rock Solid Wrestling roster who they think would be their choice for the first inductee if Rock Solid Wrestling did a Hall of Fame.
It's time for the Rock Solid Wrestling Count It Out question.
All right, it's Count It Out question backstage here with Jake O'Reilly, Canadian heavyweight champion, with John Atlas, with Darko. Oh my goodness, Scotty the Body, with the Canadian tag team champions, the Ring Truck Crew. If there was a Rock Solid Wrestling Hall of Fame, who should be the first inductee?
Wow, okay.
Tornado.
That's a good call, Tornado. Wow, I got to say Tornado, but I'm trying to go back in for. I'm going to say Scotty the Body.
Finally, if we're going to open up a Rock Solid Wrestling Hall of Fame, who should be the first guy inducted?
Tornado, hands down.
Excellent answers. If they're going to start a Rock Solid Wrestling Hall of Fame, who should be the first guy in?
Not him.
Not Tid. Perfect. If they were going to open up a Rock Solid Wrestling Hall of Fame, who would be the first guy inducted?
Anthony Darko.
Excellent answers. If they were to start a Rock Solid Wrestling Hall of Fame, who should be the first one inducted?
Who? First one inducted? I was going to say that's a toss-up between Cody Deaner or Tornado.
Good answers. Thanks, Scotty.
Hey, no problem.
This has been the Rock Solid Wrestling Counted Out question. Counted Out with Mike and Tyler is proud to sponsor Rock Solid Wrestling Brace for Impact, Saturday, March the 29th from the Bracebridge and Muskoka Lakes Secondary School. Visit rocksolidpro.ca for details and ticket information.
I cannot disagree. I think Tornado is a man that deserves a lot of praise for the work that he's done in the world of professional wrestling, especially with Rock Solid Wrestling. That is going to be a great show. One more time, Saturday, March 29th at the Bracebridge and Muskoka Lake Secondary School. Rock Solid Wrestling, always a great night of action. Be sure to check them out. Something else that we got to check out last week was the first promo of John Cena. Now, we have not talked at all about this.
No,
you've been on holidays,
but also on purpose. Like I could have been texting you and stuff and talking about this, but I wanted to save this conversation for air.
Well, I would love to hear your take on this promo.
I liked it. I loved it, actually. I thought it was exactly what we needed, and I didn't know it was what we needed until we got it. It's the exact opposite of what I thought we needed. But WWE, John Cena, Triple H, whoever's in charge of delivering that exact thing to us, they know me better than I know myself sometimes. Sometimes when it comes to wrestling creative, I think I know what I want, and then they give me something, in this case, the exact opposite, and I'm like, yeah, that's it. Him coming out and saying, no, I'm not going to come out and change my clothes. I'm not going to change my music, because that's what you want me to do. That's what you want this new John Cena to be different. No, I'm going to be myself, and fuck you for it. I love that so much.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this character should be. I love it. I wouldn't have thought of it.
The thing that I like so much about this character, this development of John Cena, is if there is any professional wrestler who, like, you know how like heels, like Kevin Owens is a great example. Like heels always believe that they're right. And you know, Kevin Owens is he's right to an extent and he handles it the wrong way, right?
Exactly.
If there's any wrestler that has a reason to hate wrestling fans, it's is John Cena. And he's right. He's given everything, and fans shit on him all the time. And I'm glad that he's leaning into that. I'm glad that he's saying, you know, I came back, I wanted to do something nice for you, and you did it again, and fuck you. I'm doing this for me now. Like, this is it. I'm retiring at the end of the year, and I don't give a shit what you think about me. Thought it was great.
The fact that he called out that one specific child, and that child has gone viral as hell. I love that. Absolutely.
I also really liked Cody's promo as well.
Yeah.
Because I thought Cody needed I'm glad Cody didn't come out and just like beat the shit out of him or try to fight him and Cena powdered away. I like that Cody came out and was just like, you had your moment, John, but I'm telling you right now, if this version of John Cena shows up at WrestleMania, I will kill you. I will murder you. I don't want this bitch John Cena. I want the real. And I just thought that was such a powerful message too.
100%.
Like even like the little thing, like when when Cena was like, okay, kid, hold on. And Cody was like, no. WWE champion, not kid. Like, I thought Cody really, because that's the trouble, like, with the white meat baby faces. And I think Cena fell into this. And it's like, they never show that killer instinct. You know what I mean? And Cody has. Cody murdered Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble. Cody's calling John Cena a bitch. but Cody's still signing autographs for fan. I think Cody is finding that balance perfectly right now.
Cody, if Cody stays on the trajectory that he's on right now, Cody's in the running to be one of the greatest white meat baby faces in the history of the company
Absolutely.
because he has found that sweet spot. He has found that place where you do believe that he's going to win every fight he gets into. He's not. He proves that you don't always have to be the underdog to be a white meat babyface. No, I'm not saying that John Cena was ever an underdog because he wasn't, but that's for two very different reasons. You never believed John was going to lose because John never lost. You know what I mean? We called him Big Match John for a reason.
I like
But
that he addressed that in his promo, though. He's like,
yeah,
I struggled, and then I won, and I won, and I kept winning, and I kept winning, and you hated it. I like that he addressed that.
I hope at some point in promos, I hope he calls out Cody in the same thing, saying, "Wait, Cody, it's going to happen to you.
Oh yeah,
What happened to me will happen to you." And I would love for them if they had permission to break the fourth wall, go over to AEW. Didn't it already happen to you? Didn't they already turn on you? They turned on you over there. What makes you think they won't turn on you here?
see, that's a dangerous game though, because do you want to plant that seed in the
Yeah.
fans? Like I like the idea of Cena saying, "I used to be you." And then look what they did to me. They'll chew you up and spit you out too. And Cody defending the fans. I don't know if we want to talk about AEW like that, and
Yeah.
especially because AEW is acting like a bunch of children right now, which I think can
Yeah.
segue into something I know you want to talk about.
I have a few AEW things I want to talk about, but yeah.
Okay, okay, what do you got?
Well, are we done talking about Cena? Are we
Yeah,
done
I
this?
got it.
Well, I got one more question for you, and
All
this is
right.
a question on everybody's lips. Meltzer's been talking about it. I believe Russo's been talking about it. Here's the big question.
No, if Meltzer and Russo are talking about it, then we have to address it on Count It Out then.
The big question is one person's name was missing from those promos, a big name, and that's The Rock. Where does The Rock play in this story moving on? There's big rumors that Rock had to back out from WrestleMania. Who knows if that's true or not? But where does The Rock play in this scenario?
I don't think he needs
And
to be anywhere.
why wasn't he mentioned in that promo?
He doesn't need to be. He, I think Cena and
Do
Cody
you
can.
not think it's important because of the way the turn happened where John looked at Rock straight in the eyes and said, "I'm," like, basically said, "I'm doing this because of you or for you."
I'm
And now
sure
all
it'll
of a
get
sudden
addressed.
we're not talking about it.
I don't think it needed to be addressed last week. I think we needed Cena to have his reasoning why. I think that we have time to try to understand this. If this even is a partnership
Mm-hmm.
with The Rock and Cena,
They need
maybe
to, even if Rock is gone, I think they do need to address it. They need to say something about it. Don't let I there's nothing more I hate in wrestling when we're just supposed to forget something happened.
yeah, especially like the biggest heel turn in WWE history as well.
Yeah,
I think it will. Maybe we hear something. We're recording this on a Monday afternoon, so maybe in about a couple hours, because Raw's in Glasgow this week.
that's right.
Maybe we'll get our answers there.
Very true.
Who knows? But I also don't hate the idea of seeing The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin involved in something with Cena and Cody as well. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of rumors that Austin is going to be in Vegas. It's been confirmed. He's doing a signing
Yeah.
with the WWE World, and that's locked in. So, do we want to see Austin come down? Are we going to see a moment where Cody's in trouble with The Rock and Austin, or with The Rock and Cena,
I'm
and
getting this
Austin makes a
real
save?
deja vu thing. I feel like we talked this exact scenario last year, and then the Undertaker came out.
Fair, fair. It is
We'll see.
true.
We'll see.
Um, it's too bad. Like it's almost too bad that they did the tag team, like that they did it last year with Cody and Seth against Rock and Roman night one,
Yeah.
because I think the stage is set for what could have been a way bigger version of that this year with Austin and Cody against Rock and Cena.
Yeah.
But I mean, like last year's WrestleMania was so perfect, it doesn't matter, right? Like
You're not wrong.
so, But yeah, anyways,
right.
I want to hear your AEW rant. I always enjoy a good AEW rant from Mike.
All right, I got two issues with AEW this week, and I hate being that guy. I'm waiting for the week that I can come on and say, "Hey, man, kudos to AEW this week." I'm waiting for that week, but this is not the week. I got two issues with AEW. First off, let's discuss the mock spot.
Oh God,
I want to talk about
that's
John
terrible.
Moxley being backdropped onto a
Suplex
2x4 covered in fucking in what like look like
nails.
at least 5-inch nails, like
Yes, he took
big
a
fucking nails.
took a suplex.
Was it a suplex? That was a back body
No
drop.
suplex.
Either or, okay. His full body weight being dropped onto fucking nails, and the wrestling world is praising this spot.
I don't know if they're praising it.
A lot of people are.
I've seen a
lot of
mixed
people
bag
are.
on it.
And it's really pissing. Even friends of mine, and this is what pisses me. I got this clip sent to me 1,000 times. Friends of mine, who used to give me shit for being a fan of fucking Nick Gage. Oh, Nick Gage, he's just a fucking torture porn guy. None of that stuff is real wrestling. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. Oh, but AEW does it. Now it's fucking art. Drives me nuts. Here's my problem. There's a time and a place for this kind of stuff. GCW does it. Guess what? GCW is not a national television. GCW does not market themselves to kids. GCW,
AEW doesn't market themselves to kids.
But there's kids in the audience. I've never seen a kid in the GCW.
I'm sure there has been.
But there's not. They're not on national television where anybody can just click by and watch it. My biggest problem with this spot, number one, we didn't need it. That bat could have been used in 10 different ways, and we still would have been like, oh, if he would have just if Edge would have just whacked Moxley in the stomach with it, we would have been like, Abyss was the master of using that thing and not hurting anybody. Him doing that spot, I think it was unnecessarily risky.
Yeah.
How did he know that it wouldn't go too deep?
That it could hit his spine.
That it wouldn't hit his spine, that it wouldn't sever wouldn't puncture a lung, wouldn't, you know what I mean? There's so many things that could have went wrong there. I didn't enjoy the spot. I didn't like the spot. I think it was 100% unnecessary.
So here's my take on this. Now, I've never been a big fan of the deathmatch style. I know you used to. I don't know. I don't think you're huge into it anymore, but I know you used to really
Not as much as I used to be, but I still dabble. I don't watch GCW religiously like I used to.
So that spot obviously did not appease me. I did not enjoy seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I don't remember the last time that I've shown like a clip to people that are like non-wrestling fans or wrestling fans or like talked about, and especially with AEW, because we haven't talked about them a lot.
No.
So in that sense, it worked. Like, it got people talking. It got people looking at AEW. I don't know if that's, I don't know. Well, I mean, it's Moxley though. That's the shit he likes to do.
I guess.
Right? I don't think Tony Khan's sitting there being like, okay, John, tonight you're gonna puncture yourself. Like, this was probably a John Moxley idea.
100%. 100%.
Right?
I'm almost surprised that Copeland went with it.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It wasn't my cup of tea, but I mean, it got people talking about AEW.
Yeah.
And maybe it will get people being like, okay, whoa, that's Edge.
And I'm not gonna lie, man. I studied it. I watched the clip over and over again, studying it, trying to see, could they have gimmicked it?
No.
Am I overreacting? Could they have gimmicked it so it's not as dangerous as I think it was? And there's no way.
Well, you can't gimmick something like that.
No.
It's in your skin. Like, so not my favorite moment. But I mean, it got people talking. And and then that's the thing though. It's like that clip goes viral, which it did. But then if a wrestling fan's like, oh shit, there's Edge. What is this? Let me look this up. Okay, there's Dean Ambrose. There's, all these people that we used to, Christian, like, oh, Chris Jericho. What the hell? Like,
yeah.
So again, not my cup of tea. I mean, like, I don't think it should have been on television. We can
No.
go that.
Um, we'd be having a very different conversation if this was on pay-per-view. I still wouldn't have liked the spot because of the safety to Moxley. I think it was unnecessary to take that risk, but I wouldn't have had as much a problem with it because nobody's flipping the TV and finding pay-per-view. You have to pay $45, $60, let's AEW, so $1,000 to see pay-per-view, and you have to choose to see it. That's fine. They can do whatever they want on pay-per-view. But on television, anybody, an 8-year-old kid can be flipping through the fucking TV
Yeah,
and
but
find that.
you know what, though, to play devil's advocate to my own point there and to that comment, television is useless now. It doesn't matter because that
Yeah.
8-year-old kid's going to see that clip on TikTok and Instagram and
You're not
whatever,
wrong. You're not wrong.
what are the threads and whatever the hell old man yell at cloud doesn't understand over here. Like,
Yeah.
we're in a world where anything that happens, it's on social media and there's no way that you can monitor that. There's just no way you can do it.
It's fucking scary.
Let's talk about something a little. Oh, wait, you had another AEW point.
I did. Um, so I don't know if you know about this, but we're getting close to like the 200 and what is it,
80 something,
86th or whatever the fuck it is episode of Dynamite, which is going to tie the the episode that Nitro made it to, blah blah blah. So long story short, Dynamite is about to surpass Nitro in episodes, which is fine and dandy, cool. I mean, Impact did that years and years and years ago. So to me, not that big of a deal. But who does think it's a big deal, Tyler?
Well, I mean, that would be Mr. Tony Khan, who put out the following tweet. Thank you all who watch AEW. After a big March Madness slam dunk AEW Collision weekend, we're looking forward to Wednesday and a stacked lineup and what will soon be the longest running weekly primetime pro wrestling show ever on TBS TNT. Don't miss AEW Wednesday night.
What a petty bitch. Now, with that said, devil's advocate, Eric Bischoff would have done the same thing.
I mean,
So
I get it. I get it. I just think it just makes them look so bush league. Like,
it does.
WCW went out of business over 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's crazy. Who cares that you're doing longer television shows than
So,
it?
so here's my question to you, and we're going to continue this conversation next week.
Ugh.
You and I are going to go into depth in this conversation next week. But here's my question. I'm going to open up the subject, and then we'll put a pin in it. My question to you: after now, the same AEW AEW has not been around as long as WCW, but Dynamite has been around as long as Nitro. Dynamite or Nitro, what had the biggest legacy or biggest impact in professional wrestling in their 5 years?
On Nitro changed wrestling.
100%.
Nitro changed wrestling
100%.
because without Nitro, we don't get the WWE growing to what it is either. Like the Nitro's what changed the game of professional wrestling.
AEW has not had that effect anywhere the way that Nitro did.
No, WCW. Now the thing is though that we also romanticize WCW a lot as well, because that boom period was awesome and it changed everything. But it also had a lot of terrible stuff as well.
Well, yeah,
A lot of terrible stuff.
Technically, out of Nitro's 5 years, only 2 were good.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean AEW
96 and
Dynamite,
97 had great stuff.
like
Everything
you could argue that there's been better matches on Dynamite than Nitro. You could argue that. I think that there's been better angles on Nitro than Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
I think from an in-ring standpoint, I think it's hard to top AEW in general in-ring. Their in-ring stuff is phenomenal. Their pay-per-views.
The style of wrestling is a lot different, though.
It is. I mean,
wrestling has
still go
evolved
back.
in 20 years. Like the style of wrestling.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, but AEW, what I like about AEW, what I will say is that you can put on an AEW show and there will be something for everybody on it. You will get your hardcore stuff, you will get your high flying stuff, you'll get your spot fest stuff, you'll get your technical wrestling stuff. Their pay-per-views especially, they are can't miss shows. It is very, very rare that AEW puts on a pay-per-view event that does not have people raving when it's over about the
Sure.
in-ring product.
Yeah.
Their storytelling and their storyline, yeah, we could
Yeah.
use some work on that. But it's like the exact opposite though. Like WCW, their storytelling with the NWO at points
Mm-hmm.
was really, really good. Outside
And
of outside of the NWO, it wasn't the greatest. There was some good
well, so
stuff.
there was some good stuff. Like some of the cruiserweight stories was really good. Like,
The undercard at WCW was phenomenal.
yeah.
The main event scene, not so much.
Yeah.
So Mike and I have discussed this, and based off of the last, we haven't done this in almost 2 years for a reason.
Yeah.
But next week, Mike and I are going head to head again. Last
Mm.
time we did this was Bret Hart versus Seth Rollins, who is Mr. SummerSlam. It almost caused the end of Counted Out with Mike and Tyler. If you don't know what we're talking about, check out our archives from last week's show when we reviewed my favorite top 7 moments from the show. Um, Next week, Mike is going to be counting down the top 7 moments from WCW Nitro, and I will count down the top 7 moments from AEW Dynamite, which is going to be really hard because I'm not a big AEW guy either, but I'm going to jump on, like, I like AEW, but I don't like watch it enough. And I grew up with Nitro as well. So I'm going to dig deep. I'm going to find some moments, and we're going to find out why Tony Khan is the man. Let's Tony. I'm on Team AEW, baby. Get me
Oh,
those
God.
nails. Get me
Does that
those
make-
nails.
Does that make you a sicko? I don't
Tony
get
Khan.
that. Why do the fans call themselves sickos? Have you heard this?
I don't even
Yeah.
know what that is.
Yeah, that's weird. All right, bud. Anything else?
Well, it's too bad because I had an easy number 1, but unfortunately it happened on Collision and not Dynamite. And that is Van Landen and I singing Judas on the front row on camera. That is an easy
That's
number
amazing.
1. Yes,
Do
I
you
have
have anything
one.
else before we throw to a friend of ours?
I have one more thing that I just
Okay.
want to mention, and I just want to mention the incredible Chris Bay.
Oh, yes.
Last
The
night
ultimate finesser himself.
they did the Chris Bay like tribute show, like to try to raise money for him, like in honor of his injuries. And Chris Bay made an appearance at the show.
Yes,
But not only did he make an appearance, he walked to the ring, got in the ring. It was a beautiful moment. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to his interview with Chris Van Vliet yet.
I haven't, no.
It is probably my favorite Chris Van Vliet interview of all time. He is just such an inspiring person. His mind frame, everything. Go out of your way. Go on Twitter, X, whatever it is, or wherever. Type in Chris Bay. Just watch the moment of him walking to the ring, tears in his eyes.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a moment
for a man just a couple months ago didn't know if he would ever walk again. Let alone walk into a wrestling ring.
He was given a 10% chance to walk again. And here we are. Very, very similar vibes to Magnum TA walking after his car accident. What a beautiful moment. I just wanted to send all the love to Chris Bay in the world.
Chris Bay also, can we say something about Chris Bay? Have you noticed that Chris Bay might be one of the most beloved stars in wrestling? The people that have come out, and not just because he got injured, but people come out and say because they actually do admire him, respect him, love him. He's got so many friends in the business. And I never really realized that he's a great dude. You can look back in our archives. He's been uncounted out. You can go look at his great interview with Adam Cole. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Chris Bay. I do hope to see him in the ring again one day. But even if we don't, the fact that he was able to walk to that ring is tremendous.
He keeps saying this is just the start of the greatest story ever to be told.
Speaking of that, before we go on to Tito, somebody else stood up and walked a little bit for the first time in a very long time, thanks to our friend DDP this week. Did you hear about this?
Your boy Abby?
Abdullah the Butcher was able to get up and take a couple steps for the first time in years because of training with DDP. DDP out there doing some amazing, miraculous work with these guys, man.
Yeah, it's got Lex Luger going.
He had Lex Luger out of his chair. Now
Hey,
he's got Abdul out of his chair. That's
really,
amazing.
really quickly, if you're AEW, would you let Sting induct Luger into the Hall of Fame?
Yes.
I would be on the fence about it, and I have one
And
reason why.
purely for one reason only for me. But what's your reason?
Do you have a reason why you would or wouldn't?
Yes.
Okay, you go first because I
Out
want
of
to.
out of respect for Sting.
Yeah,
If Sting wants to do it, you let Sting do it. He's fucking Sting. That's it.
I get it.
That's
Let me
not like that's it for me.
let me play devil's advocate for a minute since I'm pro AEW now, and I'm
Mhm.
Mister. I'm gonna get an MJF tattoo on my calf after this show's over. The last time AEW did something like this, they allowed Billy Gunn
Yeah.
to go,
And
and they got completely disrespected and
yes,
had their company called a bunch of pissant company.
yes.
I would have second thoughts about this.
And I don't necessarily agree with you, or I mean disagree with you. I don't disagree with you at all, actually. From a business standpoint, I would be hesitant, but in the end, I would put it in the hands of Sting. I would say, Sting, if you want to do it, you have my blessing. It's Sting. It's fucking Sting.
Well, it's about Luger, not Sting, though. Like Luger's the Hall of Fame.
But yeah, but Luger doesn't work for AEW. For me, it's if I'm talking to my employee, if I have that much respect for my employee and he says, listen, it's important to me that I do this for my friend, I'm probably gonna say yes.
The fact that it was Triple H that made the comment.
I know.
If I'm Tony Khan, I want something out of this.
100%.
I want
100%.
I want a public apology.
Ooh, that's not happening.
That's what I would want.
That's not happening.
I would, if I'm Tony Khan, I would literally go on record. I would just say it like a norm, not how Tony Khan does it because he's fucked. I mean, Tony, we love you, our savior of wrestling, Tony Khan. But I would literally just come out and say, listen, I have no problem with Sting doing the Hall of Fame, much like I had no problem letting Billy Gunn go and do the Hall of Fame. But when we let Billy Gunn do the Hall of Fame, Triple H called our company a pissant company and completely disrespected our kind gesture. So I will let Sting do the Hall of Fame. All I would like in return is for an apology because I didn't think that was necessary.
I think maybe they could get something different. They're not getting that.
What would you ask for then? Would you ask for a talent to come over? Like, what would you want?
A talent.
What benefits AEW?
A talent, some sort of fucking push for the next pay-per-view.
What do you want? What talent? What talent comes over?
I mean, they definitely have some talent. They could do some cool stuff in AEW. I mean, sending AJ over to work with Osprey or someone like that would always be fucking phenomenal.
What is that? Does that benefit AEW having that match?
Yes,
I guess so.
Because that's their bread and butter. The in-ring stuff is their bread and butter.
Would you rather
so to be able to put on that match, being able to put on a match that WWE will never be able to put on, that would crank that would get Tony Khan harder than Jip Rock, man.
Would you rather have AJ come over or would you rather have Cody come over for a promo? Would you rather have AJ and Osprey or rather have Cody cut a promo?
I mean, give me either.
I don't know.
It's on the same pedestal for me.
I think the public apology I would prefer out of all of that. If I'm Tony Khan. If I'm Tony Khan, I got an ego. I got pride.
But that's not happening.
No, I don't. I just don't see what benefit like from a. I'm just talking purely business because like I just don't.
I think
I don't see what
should do it for Sting.
I think I get that. I just don't see from a business standpoint after allowing it to happen already and being disrespected. I don't see what he could get in return that would benefit him. Right?
I do understand you.
All right. Well, that's it. Let's throw to we talked about the Hall of Fame. Why don't we talk to a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, baby.
This interview meant so much to me, and I was so excited to do it. Tito Santana, when I was younger, was one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and he is a wrestler. My great grandfather is who got me into wrestling, and Tito Santana was like one of our favorites to watch together. We both love Tito Santana. So for me to get to sit down and talk to this man that my grandfather and I shared so many great memories for really meant a lot to me on a personal level.
Yeah.
Without further ado, folks, WWE Hall of Famer, the one they call Arriba Man. Nobody ever called him that. I don't know
Nope.
why I said that.
I thought you were going to say El Matador, but
Mr. Tito Santana.
All right, count it out, listeners. Tyler here. I am with WWE Hall of Famer, former Intercontinental Champion, former Tag Team Champion, one half of Strikeforce, the legendary Tito Santana. Mr. Santana, thank you so much for taking a couple minutes here to do this.
You're very welcome, Tyler. Looking forward to this amazing interview that you're going to conduct right here.
Well, we are in Canada right now, and I can't have you in Canada and not talk about your former tag team partner in Strikeforce, legendary Rick Martel. What was so magical about you and Rick together that made Strikeforce work?
I just think that we just complemented each other's style. You know, I could carry my load, and he could carry his load. We didn't have to worry about one person letting the other person down. So, and the fans just went crazy over us. You know, from the very first day. You know, it was good to have the fans behind us. I mean, I just wish it would have gone a little bit longer, but it is what it is.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, you guys had the big moment defeating the Hart Foundation for the Tag Team Championship. What was that? What did that mean to you to all those years later win the tag team titles again in that different era of the WWF and working specifically with the Hart Foundation?
Well, the second time around, my first time around, as you know, I was tag team champions with Ivan Putski in 1979. So a few years later, I'm teaming up with Rick Martel, and the business had grown by bounds, and you know, it's just huge all of a sudden. And to be the world tag team champions in the WWF at the time was unbelievable.
Working with Bret Hart as well, specifically, you know, you guys were the first two participants in the very first ever Royal Rumble, also here in Canada. You won the tag team titles with them. How much good times did you have working with Bret?
Well, you know, Bret Hart is one of the best performers ever in the history of professional wrestling. You know, he came from a family that, you know, wrestlers, and I think he was the best of the group. And you know, he had an amazing career, and you know, our styles again, you know, we mixed it up pretty good, you know, and the people loved watching us compete against each other, and it was usually a great contest.
Absolutely, it was. I want to go back to WrestleMania here, talk a little bit about your WrestleManias. You had the honor of being in the first ever WrestleMania matchup of all time. A lot of people kind of thought at the time that you maybe were going to be in that IC title match with Greg Valentine with your guys' history. But do you look back on that now and think like what an honor it is to be in that first match, that you were trusted to kick off one of what turned into the biggest thing in wrestling history?
Yes, I know you know this. You know, the feud that I had with Greg the Hammer Valentine was the hottest feud in the WWF at the moment. We had the hottest feud. We had been wrestling for each other. The fans were crazy. You know, they wanted me to see me kick his ass. And you know, when I found out I was going to be the opening match, I was totally disappointed. Not until Vince McMahon, right before I went through the curtains for the opening match, Vince McMahon came up to me and he says, Tito, the reason you are the first match is because we need to set the tempo. You need to get the people off their butts, and you're the one that can do it. And I gave you that honor. And I mean, my attitude changed immediately when he told me that. And now, many years later, it's a nostalgia question. You know, who was the opening match in WrestleMania 1? And only Tito Santana will be able to say, you know, it was I.
100%.
Who was the opening match.
100%. And that wasn't your only WrestleMania opening match as well. WrestleMania 8, Shawn Michaels. You guys have that intense stare down. What do you remember about working with Shawn at WrestleMania 8?
Well, everybody knew that Shawn Michaels was an up-and-coming star. I mean, he was a fantastic worker. He was a fantastic wrestler. I think it was being managed by Sherry Martel. I mean, he took the world by storm when he left Marty Jannetty and went on his own. I mean, he turned out to be one of the best heels. Fantastic worker again, and I just wish we would have had more time because the match could have. A lot of people tell me what a great match it was. It was a great match, but I wish I would have been able to have a few more minutes to perform a better match.
Absolutely. We'll go back to WrestleMania 4. You're defending the tag team championships against Demolition. We're now seeing Demolition finally signed to a WWE Legends deal. You think that they're finally going to get that long overdue nod into the Hall of Fame?
I hope so. I mean, who better deserves to be in the Hall of Fame than those guys? They were a fantastic tag team. I mean, they were tough. Those guys used to beat you up like they were beating a drum. I mean, they hammer your back, and me and Rick would be dying to get out of the ring because they were beating the crap out of us.
I guess they live up to the name, Axe and Smash.
Yeah, they were big boys. I mean, they still are big boys.
Speaking of the Hall of Fame, take me back to that night for you and just what that meant for you, how you found out you were going in, and the overall experience for you.
Well, I went into the Hall of Fame in 2004. I had left the WWF in 1993, so I hadn't been watching wrestling. I hadn't been watching the WWF. But Howard Finkel called me to tell me that I was going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And then he told me who I was going to be inducted with, and that was a great class.
Yeah.
A bunch of really, really good wrestlers going into that 2004 Hall of Fame. I didn't realize how big. He flew my family from Texas. He sent 2 limousines to my house to pick us up. He gave us 5 hotel rooms in the Hyatt Regency. And when we got off, I didn't realize how big it had grown. I saw fans from all over the world, and I was like on the red carpet of Hollywood, the fans coming up and wanting my autograph as soon as I got out of the limousine. It was an amazing experience, and at first I wasn't going to do it until they told me how much I was going to get paid. Then they gave me an interest, but I would have really regretted it if I had turned it down because I didn't realize how much wrestling had grown, just like the growth that it's taking place right now. I mean, it's unbelievable. They're going back and signing a bunch of the legends. I signed my contract, I think, in October.
Wow.
And hopefully they come up with new figures and put me in games and revive my career.
Absolutely. What was your experience like? And you were on Saturday Night's Main Event there. They showed you on the crowd. What was it like going and seeing the WWE now compared to what it was when you were there?
Well, it's a different ball game. It's not the wrestling is not the same. The wrestler is not. It's a smaller wrestler nowadays, but the stuff they do in the ring is unbelievable. They're fantastic acrobatics. They do some unbelievable risky maneuvers, and wrestling has just gotten so big.
Yeah,
and the wrestling fan is still responding like a wrestling fan. They love it.
And they had Jesse Ventura back there too. I always associate Jesse with you. He'd always give you a hard time on commentary, Chico Santana. But I really feel like that also separated you from a lot of talent too. Was that beneficial for you having Jesse call you out like that?
It was beneficial, and that's where we got the title for this book. Don't Call Me Chico. I mean, Jesse the Body was one of the best performers in the ring. He could get the most out of the least. You didn't have to do too much with Jesse to get the crowd going crazy over you.
Absolutely, and you pulled the book out. Where can people find the book, Tito?
Well, they can find it on Facebook, order it through me, and they can send me, the cash. I'll sign it. I'll ship it out to them. It's done pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. been really great with your time. Just a couple more quick questions. One of your more famous matches towards before your El Matador time, at least, you got to work with the Undertaker, a very young Undertaker, over in overseas on one of the European tours, Barcelona. Yeah. Unbelievably hot crowd. What do you remember about that night working with the Undertaker?
Well, I had heard some rumors that they were interested in giving me a run with the world title, and then I mean, being in Barcelona, Spain, with the Hispanics, I was over like $1 million there, and for me to beat the Undertaker in front of the crowd, I mean, there was a big explosion. The fans went crazy when I beat him. I believe that I was on my way to getting the world title, but I think what happened is the transition of the money, American money, to the peso was so weak. You think the Canadian dollar is weak now compared to the American money. The peso was, I think, 35 pesos to a dollar. So it was pretty hard for Vince McMahon to turn a profit. So I think that's why they went with Bret Hart in the Canadian dollar, because at that moment, I think the Canadian dollar was pretty strong back then.
Yeah, it was not bad back then.
Yeah,
not what it is now.
I know when I played for the BC Lions in 1976, the Canadian dollar was worth more money than the American dollar.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was happy to get paid in Canadian money.
The last couple of questions I'll ask you, Mr. Santana. This has been an incredible conversation with you. If you could turn back the hands of time and relive one more opponent, who were some of your favorite guys that you got to get in the ring with?
Well, just guys that I enjoyed wrestling and having just knowing going in I was going to have a good match. If you remember, everybody back then was a good wrestler.
100%.
I mean, everybody were. No matter who you wrestled, you knew you were going to have a good match. My first choice, if I was going to choose somebody, I always say was Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
Yeah.
And I loved working with Kurt Hennig also.
Yeah.
And God rest their soul, both of them. I believe they went very young, especially Kurt Hennig. But, those are my two top choices.
And we can clear up the rumors also. Despite what Bobby Heenan says on WrestleMania 8, you are not related to Reba McEntire, correct?
I'm not related to Reba McEntire, no. I wish I was.
The last question I'm going to ask you, Mr. Santana, you've done so many incredible things in your entire career. And even today, there's so many people here stopping by to see you. We've seen you at the WWE Legends deal now. When you look back on your entire career, what are some personal moments for you that just make you smile to think back on?
Well, probably my first biggest moment was, I came from a town in Texas, population was 14,000. So when I stepped into Madison Square Garden my very first time and saw that huge amount of fans, to me that was a very good experience. Probably tops everything, because that was my first experience being in a huge arena.
Absolutely.
Sold out.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Santana, I cannot thank you enough for taking a couple minutes out and having this conversation with me today. This was an absolute pleasure. You are deservingly in everything you've done. On behalf of Tito Santana, I am Tyler, and you have been counted out.
Arriba!
I can definitely, all I have to say right now is Arriba! I love that. That's so great. Bless Tito Santana.
That's I can't wait to sit down and have Finn watch that, because Tito's always been one of Finn's favorite wrestlers as well.
Yeah, that's cool. And you got the cameo from him. I remember that.
I
So
did, yeah.
Finn will get a kick out of that. It is WrestleMania season, however, sir. And it's time to do our first WrestleMania list of the year. It is the top 7 returns to happen at a WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Now, you want my criteria for this?
Yes.
I'm not picking things that were like, oh, this person's been gone for, a couple weeks. Like they did an injury angle or something, and they're back at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
This is like a genuine return.
Sure.
So the 2 criteria I'm measuring this on are, did this moment make me go, holy shit? And what is the lasting impression of this moment?
Okay.
So those are it. It either has to have it has to be a great moment in general. So it either has to be what is the holy shit moment of this level, or what is the lasting impressions of this this return. Those are my two top things that I'm looking for. They don't both have to be in it together. They just have to have one of those two factors for me.
Makes sense.
Number 7, taking us back to WrestleMania 7, the return of Miss Elizabeth to realign with the Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah, this is on my list for sure.
This is such an underrated moment in the history of the WWE.
I have this written at 5.
At 5, yeah, okay, that's fair. That's a fair spot. I had it kept moving its way up. I actually think I might put it at my 6th spot, but I decided to go with the old number 7 here, the old Brock Lesnar theme song. But Elizabeth and Macho Man it had been 2 years since they had been paired together on screen in a partnership. They broke up right before WrestleMania 5. Macho Man is now with the King, with his Queen Sherry, and he has just lost his retirement match, which Elizabeth is watching from the crowd, which I love that they pointed out that she was in the crowd and not even in the front row. Like she was back by the entrance. It was a weird spot they put her in.
Yeah.
Which kind of added to the realness of it, of she's just trying to be chill and not, but she still cared about Randy. His career's on the line against the Warrior. And the match is over. Randy Savage loses in what I think is one of the most overrated matches in WrestleMania history, but that's a different story for a different list. And Sherry is pissed, and she's just laying the boots in to Macho Man, and Elizabeth can't take it anymore. She jumps over the railing, sprints to the ring, and something that she never does. She got physical. She grabbed Sherry, threw her out of the ring. Macho Man didn't know what to do, and then they embraced in the middle of the ring. People were genuinely crying in the crowd for this moment. As a shoot, lots of tears in the air. Very beautiful moment. Think it had to be on this list.
Couldn't agree with you more. It's one of the greatest feel-good moments in the history of WWE.
So my number six is a holy shit moment.
Okay.
I'm taking us back to WrestleMania 19.
Okay.
When your boy Rowdy Piper returned to the WWE.
That's right.
And laid out Hulk Hogan in his match with Vince McMahon. Nobody saw this coming.
No.
It was an unbelievable moment. And Piper had been gone from the company for years by that point. He left in 96.
Yeah.
And this is what, 2003 or 4?
3. Yeah.
2003.
3.
Right? So big return for Piper. His run was not...
The last time he was on WrestleMania would have been 12 at this point?
Yeah. And now we're at 19, right?
Yeah.
Now, the run was a little bit lackluster after it. It had a lot of potential, but it never really got off the ground the way that we wish it could have. And we got that Mr. America stuff after. And, Piper and Hogan in 2003 is an interesting way to go. But, I mean, it was such an awesome return in a moment for the Hot Rod to be...
And especially anybody who grew up watching wrestling and remembered WrestleMania 1, where it all began with Hogan and Piper. It was a cool throwback moment.
I do think in hindsight I would switch my number 7 and 6 though.
Yeah.
My number 5, staying where it's staying though. It is the return of the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 8. Okay. I love this moment.
Yeah. This was my number 3.
Your number 3?
I love this moment too.
That's fair. Yeah. I just thought this was a great moment. Warrior had been off TV for quite some time by this point. He left the WWE, I guess, shortly after WrestleMania 7. Mm-hmm. If I'm just kind of going off the top of my head. No, he left in August of 91. Sorry, he left after SummerSlam. Mm-hmm. And Hogan's getting the beat down, and the music hits, the place goes nuts, and out comes the ultimate Texas Tornado. I mean, the Ultimate Warrior.
I always thought that so funny. He what were the rumors? Because he lost a little bit of weight, he's smaller, so the Ultimate Warrior died, and they replaced him with Kerry Von Erich.
But in reality, all it was is that the Ultimate Warrior just started going to your great grandmother's barber or your great grandmother's salon and got a
Yeah.
terrible perm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought this was a great moment. I love this moment. I know this is one of your favorite WrestleManias of all time.
It is. It is.
It is a great WrestleMania, and I thought this was an incredible way to end it. The return
Well,
of the Ultimate
and this
Warrior.
is the only thing that salvages that being the main event, because this, I stand until my grave saying that this should not have been the main event. The main event of the show should have been Savage and Flair. But the fact that it ended with this spot salvages that for me.
Absolutely. Number 4. That's one of my favorite returns in the history of wrestling. I just thought this was so fun. And I'm taking us back to what I think is one of the best WrestleManias of all time, WrestleMania 31, the NWO coming out during Triple H and Sting.
Okay, I wouldn't have thought of that. All right.
This was so fun.
There was a few returns at 31, was there not? The Rock
The
returned at 31.
The Rock
yeah.
returned at 31. We had Ronda's debut at 31.
Yeah.
But this, I like, for anybody that ever shits on this match, just go away. This match was so fun.
And I'm 100% am looking and talking to you, Danny fucking franchise, even though I know you don't listen to this show.
Yeah, you're wasting your breath.
I love this match.
This was crazy. This was literally like DX was helping Triple H and the numbers were getting against Sting. Now I know it doesn't make any sense at all that the NWO will be the ones to come out and help
Sting. No,
but who gives a shit?
You had to suspend disbelief. One of my favorite parts of that is sitting there going, I remember I was watching that match with my friend Ray, and I looked at Ray and I said, "What's X-Pac gonna do?"
Yeah,
because he's on both sides, really. Like, is he going to switch sides? And it's those cool questions when you have to ask, when you have to like, what's going to happen? Technically, Nash is like best friends with Triple H. What's he going to do? I love that kind of stuff. It was fun, and that's what that match was supposed to be.
I just think
people took that match way too seriously.
It's really funny that like the NWO was coming out to save the honor of WCW, though. Like I laugh at all that stuff, but I mean,
none of that makes sense. But you have to suspend disbelief. You have to throw that out the window. Me too.
When that music hit, like, because DX's music hit and they all came out, I was like, yeah, okay, that's cool. When the NWO's music hit, I got up and was like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like, I lost my mind.
Yep.
Number 3. I'm going with what started, in my opinion, what started the best run of in-ring matches from this guy's career. And it was an incredibly well-done build to get to this moment at WrestleMania 20. When we saw the return of the dead man, The Undertaker.
This is my number 4. Yeah.
Number 4, yeah.
Yeah.
From a longevity standpoint.
Or 5.
This Undertaker return was built up so well. They teased it for months. They did all the supernatural stuff. We had Paul Bearer make his return as well, which was a nice touch. You had the old school Druids. And then we got like the modified version of The Undertaker, where it was the dead man, but it was still like MMA. I just loved it. I thought everything about this was done well.
It was cool because he hadn't been gone that long. He's only been gone since November, right? He's only been gone, 4 or 5 months? And so technically, you're thinking, is it really a return because he wasn't gone that long? But to me, it is a return because it's a return of that character.
100%. That character had been gone for years.
Exactly. And it's not only a return of the character, it's now an evolution of the character. And that gave, like, that evolution that came out in WrestleMania 20 gave that character another 20 years.
Yeah, it gave him another 15 years of WrestleManias.
Yes.
And it was his best run of WrestleMania matches.
100% it was.
If you look at what he did after that, like the next year, Randy Orton, Mark Henry, whatever, Batista, Edge, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, CM Punk, Brock Lesnar, Ray Wyatt, Shane McMahon, whatever, Roman Reigns, like, and then John Cena, like crazy stuff.
Like, he went on a run from that point on. And some people loved the Deadman character or the badass character. Some didn't.
I did
But
not.
no matter who you were, him coming out at 20, you had to cheer.
Yeah.
The lead up to WrestleMania 20 was great because every time Kane would come to the ring, they would do the the lights would
Supernatural
go
stuff.
down. The
Royal Rumble spot with Spike Dudley.
I can't remember if it was a Raw or SmackDown or a what, but remember when he was standing in the ring, Kane, and the ring started moving?
Yeah. They did the spot at the Royal Rumble where Taker's music hit, and then Spike Dudley came out.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And then, of course, this is a double return because Paul Bearer comes back.
Oh, yeah.
And he's back to form. He doesn't have the red hair. He's wearing the makeup. He's in his tuxedo.
Still scary.
It sticks in my brain hearing him. You're no son of mine. You're no son of mine.
He's
amazing stuff.
Love
it's
Paul
such a
Bearer.
good moment. Now, was the match great?
No.
No.
Was the first month or two? It took a while. It took a while for that character to find its footing.
As Bruce Pritchard would say, and then the bell rang.
Yeah, but I mean, Taker and Kane.
But the moment leading up to that, the return itself, 100% belongs in your list.
I think I catch some heat for my number 2.
I really hope not, because I'm hoping you're 2-1 match mine, because if they don't, you're missing some stuff, and I'm confused and scared. And
I think I have some heat for the placement of my number 2. Let me rephrase that.
All right.
Taking us back to WrestleMania 33, the return of the Hardy Boys.
Okay, that's my number 2 too.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
so I think we're cool here.
I think my number 2 and my number 1 match yours.
Yeah,
100% this is my number 2.
This is one of the best pop and crowd reactions in the history of the WWE.
100%. People went nuts.
Jeff Hardy almost fell off the ramp.
What a great moment this was. I absolutely love this. I was watching this with a buddy of mine, and I marked out jumping up, marking up.
Yeah, that was a good one. I mean, their run after this was just okay. Like, didn't set the world on fire or anything like that. They won the tag titles this night. It was a great return. It was a great moment. It was a moment that the Hardy Boys deserved after everything that they've done in the WWE. Yeah. I would say they're the second greatest tag team in the WWE's history, the Hardy Boys. That's my opinion.
To the Dudleys, yeah?
No, the Usos. The Usos are number 1.
Oh, yeah, the Usos. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
The Usos are number 1 with a bullet. The Hardys are, I think, the second greatest tag team in the history of the WWE.
Yeah, there's arguments to be made, but yeah, I'm not going to argue with you. Yeah.
But my number 1.
It's got to be.
It changed everything.
Yes.
It's WrestleMania 38.
Mm-hmm.
It is the return of the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
This has to be a number 1 on anybody's list. It has to be.
Yeah, I went back and forth because that Hardy's moment is so good.
Yes, the Hardy's moment had a bigger pop, and it had a bigger nostalgia feel. People loved seeing him come back. But the Cody moment, I think, is more important. I think the Cody moment...
It changed the course of the WWE, Mike.
100% it did. And it showed that anything is possible right now in the world of professional wrestling. The man who you once thought would never get past the mid card, the man who wore weird mustaches and masks and was Stardust, that guy that you never thought was going to get bigger, went on to be the biggest indie darling in the world, created a company with his best friends that was the first viable competition for WWE in years, and then left that company because he said, my story wasn't finished. And there was no reason. He had it made there. He had everything in AEW. He could have been champion as long as he wanted. His brother was there. His best friends were there. He could have done everything. It's no, I didn't do the one thing I told my dad I would do. I got to go win the WWE championship. But he was so goddamn smart, because if he would have stayed, if he never left, we'd never be having this discussion. Cody would never be WWE champion if he just stayed as Stardust, and he had to leave, make his name, become one of the biggest stars in the world, he was, I'm going to say right now, this generation's, he was what Sting was in the 90s.
You mean
Now,
Sting?
back in the 90s, the biggest name outside WWE would have to be Sting. Correct?
I mean, hard to argue, yeah.
Sting, Goldberg.
North America, for sure.
You know, yeah, for sure. In 2020 to 2022, whatever it was, that name had to be Cody. It had to be Cody because Cody went everywhere. Cody went to ROH. Cody went to every indie promotion you can name. Cody built a company. Cody put on the biggest indie show in history in All In. And then he comes home and says, I need to do this. That night coming out at WrestleMania was the start of something extremely important, extremely beautiful.
And the fact that we got the American Nightmare, the fact that Downstate's music played.
They didn't change anything.
And it was the right place to debut him back at. In front of the WrestleMania audience. It worked out perfectly. That is my list. I
like your list a lot.
Anything you can think of that maybe would have made your list and was not on there?
Yeah, I don't. Now that you put on a couple things I didn't think of, because I didn't think of Roddy and I didn't think of NWO. So maybe my list would be different. But I had written down Steve Austin at WrestleMania 38.
I had Austin, HBK, and Foley at Mania 32.
Oh, I like that too.
As a tough honorable mention to leave off.
And I wrote down Jim Ross at WrestleMania 15.
Nice one. Absolutely. Yeah. Rock and Cena at 32.
Rock and Cena, yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't have made my list, but let's throw it out for an honorable mention. Let's throw out LOD at WrestleMania 14.
Yeah, and 8 as well. They were gone for a while.
And 8, yeah.
How about the return of the Doctor of Thugonomics at 35?
Yeah, you got to talk about that, right?
How about this one for a little bit of a deep cut? The return of the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 12.
Yeah, I thought about that, but WrestleMania 8 is just
it's better,
way better.
But yeah, I think that's all I've got for my honorable mentions.
I wrote down Rocky Johnson at WrestleMania 13.
I do love that as an honorable mention. That is a fun one.
And if we're going to talk about Roddy Piper, did he not have he had a bit of a return, you could call it, at WrestleMania 5?
Yeah. I mean, do we really want to talk about that segment though?
I guess not.
No, let's just move on from that one. But yeah, that's the list. Next week, Mike and I are going head to head. I gotta be an AEW fan. Tony, AEW, you're going down, Nitro. We'll do a little debate between what is he. Listen, you're off vacation now, by the way. This is gonna be my third list in a row next week, just to let you know. All right.
That's not true at all.
Yes, it is.
It is not.
Yes, it is.
2 weeks ago, I did a list with Adam.
Yeah. That would be, well, by the time this airs, though, Mike, that'll be 3 weeks ago.
Okay, I did a list last week too, though. So that's
no, you
fine.
didn't. We revisited. I did too. No, I'm on overdrive. I'm going to be looking for some overtime pay here, Mike. All right. I didn't sign up to do a podcast to do work. Unbelievable. And I got to be an AEW fan, so I automatically get 1 point. I get some odds next week. All right.
I see.
That'll be a fun show. That'll be good stuff.
I'm looking forward to it, and then keep listening. You don't know what's going to come in the future. Thanks everybody who gave us feedback for last week's anniversary show.
Yeah, that was great.
It actually is one of my favorite shows that we've done. I got a ton of love in my DMs and in my text messages. So thank you everybody who listened and everybody who loved it. It's getting a lot of traction. If you haven't heard it, go listen back. Great interview with the one and only Kurt Angle. He was a lot of fun. Great chats with Kurt Angle. Keep looking at our Instagram and our YouTube. Tyler's been dropping lots of really fun reels and clips. Lots of really fun stuff to watch there. If you haven't hit the subscribe button on those channels, please do so. That helps every single time you do it. And until next time, my friends, you've been counted out.
Cheers.